The story takes place when I was 27 years old and I experienced a terrible accident. I was unfortunately hit by a falling plank of wood. I died in this accident. Next, I went to another world. I also met a person there who gave me comfort and warmth. I also saw heaven. For some reason, I chose to return to Earth to continue my life. Have you ever been hit on the head? Saw a bright blue light. That's the best way to describe my crossing. If you ever see that light between your eyes, that's the way to heaven. As a business consultant, my job is to provide assistance to business owners, helping them with a variety of business and team issues. I would understand their needs and provide the best solutions to achieve their business goals. One day, I was getting ready to meet with a client. At the time, I was walking down a street. There was a second-floor business on this street that was being renovated. I didn't notice this at the time because there were no tips or safety measures around. When I walked directly below the store, I suddenly heard a loud bang. Then, a strong impact came from my head and I felt a strong pain. Then, I saw a bright blue light. My head started bleeding non-stop. I was so scared and panicked that people around me started calling emergency numbers. My consciousness started to become blurry. The bright blue light was still flashing in my vision as if it was a supernatural presence. I didn't know where the light came from, but it emitted a strong heat that made me feel very warm. I didn't know what was happening, and I didn't know what to expect. I felt as if I was in a state of solitude. I wasn't sure if I was alive or if I had crossed over to another world. My heartbeat gradually became faint and I felt like my life was slowly fading away. Suddenly, I heard a soft voice telling me, "Stop struggling, your injuries are now very serious. I will take you to a safe place." This voice brought me an inexplicable peace and comfort. My pain gradually eased, as if healed by a mysterious power. The fear and anxiety inside me was also gradually soothed. I followed the light and began to move upward. I felt my body became very light. Slowly, I left the ground and floated in the air. My soul became light and free of any pain and constraint. This experience made me feel very wonderful. I felt that I was wrapped in an incomparably pure energy. In this state, time and space seemed to lose their meaning. I floated into the sky above the city. Everything on the streets started to become small, like mini models of the city. Vehicles were going back and forth like insects, and crowds were like ants. I saw people hurrying through the streets, they were busy chasing their dreams. Everyone had their own unique stories and goals. I saw cafes on the street where people gathered. Soon I was off the planet. I was transported into a whole new dimension. In this dimension, I saw beautiful and mysterious planets and galaxies. Countless stars shone with a mysterious light. Suddenly, I appeared in a brightness. A step appeared in front of me. The steps seemed to be made of soft cotton, giving a comfortable and warm feeling. As I stepped on each step, I immediately felt a light force lift me up. No matter how hard I pressed it, they always gently accepted me. I could not feel any pressure. It was as if I had become one with the steps. With each step, new steps appeared before my eyes like magic, greeting my steps perfectly. Each step was full of soft elasticity, and this comfortable feeling spread throughout my body. When I put my foot down, the steps would sink slightly and then quickly return to their original state. At the same time, these steps also emit a special aroma. It was a fresh and fragrant smell. I no longer felt tired, but full of energy and motivation. Finally, I reached the last step. As I stopped, I spotted a small bridge. The bridge spans over a peaceful stream. It was very simple in shape and exuded a sense of rustic and pure beauty. The bridge is made of white stone. The surface of the stone is smooth and delicate. After years of baptism, it shows a unique natural texture. When the sun shines on it, the stone shines with a faint light. The water under the bridge flows slowly and quietly. The bridge is lined with various flowering plants, and the fragrance of the flowers fills the air. When the breeze blew, the flowers began to sway gently. On the opposite side of the bridge, I saw my father and other relatives. Their eyes were filled with deep love. A white light surrounded them, giving off a dazzling and pure glow. This white light was the brightest, purest white I had ever seen. It felt like this light could penetrate all gloom and negativity. It was as if this light was a symbol of love that tied me to my loved ones. Behind my loved ones, a huge building appeared, which was also built of white stone. This building exuded a solemn and sacred atmosphere. It was so huge that it seemed to stretch to the end of the sky. The first person who spoke to me was my father. He said, "Dear daughter, what are you doing up there?" I replied, "Dad, I don't know. I was hit on the head by something, and then I came to this place." There was a flash of concern in my father's eyes, and he touched my shoulder gently. He just told me, "I can't stay here yet. I think they are so lucky. I envy them for being able to live here." I saw a bright light at the top of the building, and I wanted to get closer to see it more clearly. Just as I was about to approach, my great-grandfather blocked my way. He looked at me with firm, loving eyes. He told me that it was not the right time for me to approach the lamp. But I didn't give up, and I tried again to get closer. This time, my father stood in front of me. In a gentle but firm voice, he told me that now was not the time and that I needed to be patient. I was a little angry. That's when the rest of the family said to me, "Now you have to go back, you have a lot of things to accomplish." I replied, "I don't want to go back, I want to stay with you, and I don't know how to get back." Suddenly, a strong bright light appeared above me, and it was like a lightning bolt in the dark. I looked up to find the source of the light, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I actually saw Jesus. I was surrounded by his light, and I felt a strong sense of love. His light gave me hope and comfort. I asked Jesus, "Do I have to go back? Do I have a choice?" Jesus answered, "Of course you do. You are hurt very badly. If you want to stay here, no one will blame you." I began to think about my answer. Here I felt an overwhelming sense of peace and tranquility. I can be away from pain forever and have eternal joy. When I thought about my son, I also felt a deep sense of attachment and responsibility. Then I asked Jesus, "What will happen to my mother down there? And my son, can I let them come up together?" He didn't answer me directly. He gently placed his hand on my shoulder and gestured for me to look down. Following his guidance, my family appeared in my line of sight. I saw myself lying in the operating room. My mother was in the hospital hallway, her eyes revealing sadness and loss. The rest of my family was also immersed in grief. Jesus whispered in my ear that they were sad for you. Those words touched my heart deeply. I could feel the love and attachment they had for me. He also showed me a picture of the future. I saw my mother becoming even thinner. She was sitting at home in the picture, no longer eating regularly, and her body was becoming gradually weaker. I felt my mother's loneliness and helplessness in the picture, and she had lost her enthusiasm and motivation for life. Her eyes are full of melancholy and loss, and she no longer takes care of her health as she used to. Then, I saw my son's graduation ceremony. I saw him standing on the stage without his family by his side. His eyes revealed sadness and loss. He looked extraordinarily lonely in the crowd, with no one to share this momentous occasion with. He had achieved an excellent result, which made me feel immensely proud. This scene made me even more determined to go back. I want to be there for my son at every important moment in his life. He needed my love and care. And I didn't want him to face the hardships of life alone again. Suddenly, I heard the prayers of my family. Their voices cut through the barriers of time and space. My husband, who clasped his hands together, closed his eyes and prayed silently. His prayers were filled with love and hope that I would wake up. My mother was also praying for me. She poured out her worries about me to God. My friends joined in the prayers. I saw that their prayers were gathering into a powerful energy that gradually came together. This energy began to shimmer softly and form a transparent sphere. As I gazed into that ball of energy, I felt the thoughts and blessings of my family and friends, as if they were right there with me. I decided to return to Earth and to my family and friends. I stood on the steps, facing Jesus and my family, and gave my decision. Jesus nodded his head and acquiesced to my decision. Then I thought to myself, will I go back and experience physical pain? Jesus seemed to know what I was thinking. He said, "You don't have to worry about this, I will give you a healthy body." His voice was so full of comfort that I felt overwhelmingly at ease. I began to move slowly downward, and the steps seemed to turn into a smooth escalator. I crossed the roof and then entered the operating room. The doctors and nurses were focused on the surgery as they worked to repair my injured body. Jesus put my soul back into my body without incident. The surgery went very well. A month later, I had made a full recovery. The doctors were amazed at the speed of my recovery. They could not explain the reason for it, only I knew the miracle of it. The grace of Jesus enabled me to regain my health. The pain in my body gradually dissipated and was replaced by a return of strength and vitality. I am grateful for the second chance Jesus has given me and am determined to approach life with a more cherished attitude. Although I also miss my father terribly, I understand that he is already waiting for me in that beautiful place. I am confident that we will be together again in the near future. I know that I have more important things to do now. I long to be able to stand by my son's side on the day he graduates and be proud of his accomplishments. This experience has given me a deep understanding of how precious life is. I will face each day with a grateful heart. I know that no matter what the future holds, Jesus will be by my side to guide me.